Hey guys, my name is David. So I'm doing this video in English because many friends of mine requested that I made a video in English talking about my novel. In case for those people from English-speaking countries or people who predominantly speak English and wish to know about my published book, this is the Amazon edition. I'm sorry, this is actually the European edition edited and published by Círculo Rojo Editores in Spain. And my novel is called Blanco contra rojo, which translates to white versus red. As of today, which is, I believe, September 3rd, 2025, I am actually still writing white versus red. So, what is this that you have actually published, David? Uh, this is the first volume of White versus Red as a big novel, very big. As of this moment, it's 1,000 pages long. What I have, so uh, I divided the whole work, which to me is just a single novel. I divided it into five volumes, as you can see here, in the opening of the. It says White versus Red series. So the first volume is called White versus Red. The second is One Luther, after Martin Luther. The Incorruptibles would be the third volume. Mandalay, after Rudyard Kipling's poem Mandalay, that would be the fourth volume. And the fifth and final volume translates into English as The Mirror, like the famous Andrei Tarkovsky film. So, as far as I am concerned, this is all a single book. I am right now finishing Mandalay, so I'm very close to ending. I have been writing White versus Red ever since January 2022, which was when I began this. And I actually had written this first volume at around April 2022, so it took me relatively a short time to write 313 pages. So, what is White versus Red about? This is the Amazon edition, in case you're wondering. I showed both of these in my Spanish, my video, the video I made in Spanish. The Amazon edition is much simpler. It doesn't have my small biography, but it does have a plot summary on the back. The biography is in the European edition right here. That's me. Okay, so White versus Red is a political satire and a philosophical satire if you like that kind of stuff. But if you don't, it's fine. Um, it's a satire about ideologies and extremists and intellectuals. It makes fun of intellectuals, makes them us absolutely ridiculous and violent because it shows that armed professors, armed academics often become monsters, and history shows this is true. There have been many instances, and particularly in Latin American history, where very bright men and women of many different political leanings and tendencies, very intelligent, very well read, very cosmopolitan, they often lead subversive revolutionary causes and movements that take a great toll on humanity and society in general. I know, of course, the many people can also be vindicated and all that. This is not a conservative work by any means. It's very transgressive and very irreverent towards everyone. But the truth is that it's very much inspired by real things. And you can think, for example, about in Europe, France, and the 1968 revolutionary movements. And even before that, in the 19th century or the 1930s, right before the Second World War, this gigantic boom of intellectuals who also became radicals and leaders of both revolutionary and counter revolutionary movements. So, White versus Red tells the story set inside the fictional University of Milendo. Milendo is a country inspired by Jonathan Swift and his Gulliver's Travels. So, it's a fictional country, but it's supposed to be in the Caribbean. in case you're wondering. So it's supposed to be Latin American. It's not Venezuela. Well, it kind of is Venezuela, but it also combines things of Spain, Argentina, Chile, France. I made it very ambiguous so it could suit many different things. I took inspiration from my own Venezuela, from Mexico, from Argentina, from Spain a lot. There are a lot of references to Spain, particularly Civil War Spain. Um, to, of course, Argentina and Chile with the entire background that those very interesting countries have in Latin America. So there's a lot of things, and even Colombia too, with the guerrilla movements. So there's a lot to unpack here in terms of symbolism and allegories, and it's a way to have fun, really, because many writers over the course of modern literature, whether it's in Spanish and Hispanic American literature, like for example, Ramon del Valle Inclán with Tyrant Banderas or Mario Vargas Llosa with his different novels. There have been many sort of like postmodern uh, allegories in writing towards historical events and to Hispanic history in general. So, in the University of Milendo, there exists this sort of feudal society um, where different groups, armed groups, have been waging war with each other for centuries. And these armed groups are founded on ideologies. They're hard left and hard and far right, and also far center, as ironic as that sounds. Uh, Groups and corporations, and they have all been sort of friends and enemies over the decades. And at the moment this novel starts, they have become sort of like a commonwealth. They all share diplomatic ties. They all get along, but it's a very fragile piece. And this country, Milendo, is very, very fragmented. It's not a stable country. It doesn't have control over what happens inside of it. It's disputed by different warlords. There are a bunch of crises waiting to explode at any moment. Again, not Venezuela. Uh, totally not Venezuela. So it's very interesting because these corporations within the University of Milendo, which is huge, it's gigantic, and it's kind of inspired by my own university, by the way. Not that much, but anyway, you get the idea. They kind of become their own microstates, like their own small republics. So the novel starts when the Vice Minister of Education, Odalio Renes, he is kidnapped and he appears within the university campus, but he has no idea who kidnapped him. They wanted to kill him, but they failed because they were clumsy and sort of careless children, very inexperienced, you could say, hitmen working for the two biggest corporations, the communists and the fascists, which are, ironically, again, it's a satire, they are allied in this effort to kill the Vice Minister of Education because he is quite evil. He is the white of the title, which the white refers to the power of the state oppressing academia. So Odalio, the vice minister, he survives and he becomes like this terrorist against first his kidnappers and then against all of academia and all of knowledge. He wants to destroy knowledge from the earth. And it is that insane because the response of the other terrorists, the university terrorists, the students and their professors, the two main professor characters, they are Adolfo Van Garces, who is the philosopher who leads the communists, very cosmopolitan, very well read, extremely educated and intelligent, and the fascist woman who is a professor of history of civilizations, Esther Portas. She is the Duchina of the CTV, which is the fascist corporation. She is also very well read, but extremely cruel and sadistic. So the response that these two people and their students, in particular the main character who is Indusio Maro, a prodigy of Esther Portas, the response is absolutely brutal and cruel. as well. So basically, it's the story of a war that began out of mutual aversion between well read but monstrous people and monstrous people who don't like to read. So that's it. That's White versus Red. It's in Spanish only as of this moment. I wrote it inspired by many writers, particularly French and Spanish writers, because I had already written a novel in English. It is a science fiction novel, but I haven't been able to publish it. So I published this one, and I hope it sells. Who knows? Maybe it won't. I don't know. So far, it has been well received. I have gotten a few reviews, and people have liked it very much. So, will it ever appear in English? I would like it to appear in English, but I am not currently thinking of translating it into English because it's a huge effort, and I have a full time job and a bunch of other commitments to do. So I don't know if it will ever appear in English. Sorry. Okay, so this is my description of White versus Red or Blanco contra rojo, which I am still writing as of this moment. So please buy it and read it.